sorry for making this a part 3, but anyway, God didn't move Esther to just plead for women and children to her husband, the king, but she also pleaded for the lives of the men as well. Because men also matter. It's not just women and children. Men also matter. Jochebed, Miriam, and the daughters Pharaoh, and I'm sorry, the Pharaoh's daughter. And it's not the same Pharaoh, it's a different Pharaoh later. And from the book of Genesis to the Pharaoh of book of Exodus is not the same Pharaoh as that was first mentioned in the book of Genesis, who Abraham had dealt with. But anyway, that Pharaoh's daughter, Miriam and Jochebed, was all protective of Moses, and God had a hand in all of that. God used Jochebed and Miriam to help Moses escape from Pharaoh's hand. And then God used Pharaoh's daughter to also protect and shield Moses from the wrath of the Pharaoh. And there's other examples of women in their own way being protective of men around them, whether it's their husband or their son. In the book of a lot of women want to act like that men's feelings don't matter. Well, there was a woman that felt otherwise in the book of Proverbs. In Proverbs 31, the author of that specific proverb, the very first thing he says is that his mother is giving him advice on what kind of woman he should look for. And she first and foremost tells him to pretty much avoid women that'll cause him grief and that'll cause him trouble. And she goes on to tells him to look for certain characteristics in a woman that'll say, yes, that's the right gal for you, which is known as the virtuous woman. Therefore, she's protecting his feelings. She doesn't want her son to be a victim of a wicked woman, so she gives him advice on what he can do to protect himself from wicked women. That is evidence that men matter and men's feelings matter. I mean, just because women are more emotional than men doesn't mean that men can't feel anything. Men can feel pain. They can feel anguish. They can feel regret. They can feel shame. They can feel fear. They have emotions too. They're just better at containing it than women are. That's the only difference. And besides, if it were to be true that men are just stone cold and are completely emotionless, then Jesus would not have done what he did. Jesus was a man. And he suffered physically, emotionally, mentally, when he was being tormented, being whipped by the Romans, and then being nailed to the cross. I mean, there was a moment where Jesus cried out when he was sad that the Father briefly turned away from him, when he said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Saying, "Eli, why have you forsaken me?" If you don't want to, I mean, you should at the very least look at Jesus and say, yeah, he's a prime example that men do have feelings, that they can and do feel pain, that they can suffer. But the thing is, us women should not want that for men. God made Eve for Adam, and her purpose, women's purpose, is to comfort and to support men. We're not to be above men. We're not to be stronger than men. We're not to hound them and tell them what they should do and act like they're bosses. A lot of women like to make stupid comments saying, "I'm not your mother," basically saying they don't want to clean or cook for men. Yeah, you're not their mom, but you're also not their boss. You're not over them. And you're not meant to be over them. Yeah, you're not their mother, but you're also not their master. Women are supposed to care and support men. We're supposed to respect men. We're not supposed to turn them down, especially on issues that involve, right, violence and all that. We shouldn't be telling men that they can't be believed because they're men. We should be just as supportive for them as we are for female victims. You can support both. You don't have to toss away one to protect the other. And I'm going to be protective for both. I'm going to be supportive for both. I have seen a radical feminist that just hates men. She can never convince me that I should. She can never convince me of her rhetoric trying to tell me that I should never protect men, even men that are victims of wicked women. She will never in a million years convince me of that. And she also, at the same time, will never convince me to be tribal and protect all women, including wicked women. I won't do it. Just because I'm a female like you doesn't mean you get to tell me what to do. I don't think like you. I have a different heart, mind, and soul than you do. You don't own me. I'm not you. You're not me. I don't stand on the side of women that want to be petty. I stand for Jesus. I stand for Jesus. I stand for morality. I try to stand for what is right. And because of that, I support both men and women who are victims. Us men and women should love and respect each other and help each other fight against wicked people on both sides of the aisle. It should not be gender biased. It is not meant to be gender biased. But I said all I needed to say. I'm just going to end with that before I ramble on. But I really hope that making these videos will inspire more women to come out and be protective for men who are victims of assault of any form in false allegations, and not just sit there and stay silent. If you're a woman and you feel exactly the way I do and passionate about this, you should make your own videos, do what you gotta do to advocate for male victims as well. Don't stay silent. I know it's scary. I know it could be kind of intimidating, but it needs to happen. And especially if we want to, you also got to figure, what if it was your brother? What if it was your dad? What if it was your son? Or your uncle? Especially if you care about men that you have around you in your life, you need to do what you can to advocate to protect men and their rights as well. Nobody should have special rights. Men are not to have special rights above women, but they don't anyway. And women should not have special rights above men. It should be equal, true equality. Not what radical feminists want to call equality, but true equality. That's what we should be fighting for. To make things truly equal and fair for both sides of the aisle. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't have to be tribal for all women, including hateful and wicked women, just because I'm a woman. I don't have to do that, and I'm not going to. I'm doing what Jesus moves me to do. And he's moving me to advocate for men's rights and to try to make things truly equal between men and women. I don't want to spread hate. I want to spread peace. I want to do something to help bring peace for both sides of the aisle. This whole gender war is very unnecessary. It shouldn't be this way, and it wasn't meant to be this way. Both men and women are guilty of sin. Both men and women have to be delivered. The only person on this earth that lived perfectly was Jesus Christ, who had the power of the Holy Spirit to do the miracles that he did, who had the Father right there beside him. But because of him, we also, in turn, can have the Holy Spirit with us and the Father and move us to, to be better, to do better, to be more kind, to be more gentle, more concerned, and more concerned about other people. Be appreciative of those who help you. God helps us become humble. He helps us to look at other people in a different light, in a positive way. He helps us see people the way he sees them. And he sees a whole lot of broken souls that needs his love and grace. All of us need that, and that includes the men. God's purpose for women, for the men, was to comfort the men and give them support, not to tear them down. God will never assist women in overpowering men, because that is going against his will and his purpose for them. And if you're a Christian woman and you feel and you want to say that God is moving you to be hateful toward all men, then it is not God that you're listening to, sweetheart. You're not listening to the Lord. That is not the Lord moving you. That is your own ego. Or I should say more specifically, you're listening to the devil. If you really want to proclaim that God is moving you to be hateful toward men, it is not God that you're listening to. Okay, I've rambled on some more. I'm going to end it with that before I say anything else, because I don't want to make these videos too long. I'm sorry that this turned to a part 3. I did not mean for that to happen, but it did. May love be with you all. Shalom. And again, for all victims, male or female, I hope and pray that God helps you overcome the pain that you've been enduring. I hope he helps you overcome that, and that he'll help you become a conqueror. And I also hope and pray for you that God provides you someone that will believe you. We all need God's grace. And I hope more people will seek the Lord so they can receive the healing that they need. And not just over the trauma they've dealt with, but also over things that they themselves might regret that they've done. Because we also need healing from that as well. Regrets of things that we've said or done to others. But seek the Lord because you truly want to know him. You want a true relationship with him. Seek him like you would seek a lost treasure. I'm sorry, I know I said this already, but I'm truly going to end it with that. May the Lord be with you. Shalom.